The story begins inside Rossmore prison, where two prisoners were standing face to face ready to fight each other. John threw the first punch, but then the other prisoner named Nelson took out his screwdriver. But John had also come with all his weapons. He threw a knife at Nelson, but Nelson ducked at exactly the right moment. Both jumped on each other, but very soon, the brawl turned into a wrestling match. The moment John got the chance, he struck Nelson with his blade. But instead of going in, the knife broke. It turned out that Nelson was wearing a stolen license plate under his uniform. Seeing this, John was actually impressed. John's story is quite a different one. He has been going in and out of jail since the age of 8. He started when, as a child, he stole the lottery company's van and then took their big check and walked straight into a bank, saying, "Put it in my account." "Kid, where is your account?" The police picked him up immediately and took him straight before Judge Nelson Biederman. The judge sentenced him to 7 years and also humiliated him. John was listening to all of this but said nothing. But the anger in his eyes was clear. The judge announced his verdict, and from this point his going in and out of jail began. A few years later, when he got out of jail, he tried to rob 2 police officers at gunpoint. He also told them that he could kill them. But even standing face to face, his aim missed. Then he was caught again and brought before Judge Biederman. Same courtroom, same old lecture, and once again the same jail. Now at 24 years of age, he came out again. But again, within 6 months, he was back inside for stealing a car. This time the judge said that you do not know how to steal. Crime does not work out for you. You keep getting caught, so why do you do it? Are you out of your mind? It was not just the punishment that stung John. Every time the judge would taunt him that you are a #1 fool. But this time coming out, he thought that he would take revenge on the judge before leaving. "I will set up a game for him." He called the courthouse so he could speak with the judge. But the receptionist told him that Judge Biederman was no longer around, meaning the judge had not retired. He had died. John got very angry, thinking that a few days earlier I could have killed him myself. He slammed the phone in frustration. Then he came out of the booth and in his rage fired shots at the phone. Then he went to a bar to calm down a little. There his eyes fell on a newspaper. The article was written about the judge's son, Nelson Biederman IV. Father and son both had exactly the same name. Now the idea came to him that he would take revenge for the father from the son. The next morning, he went to a Biederman Foundation event that had been organized in memory of the judge. When the judge's son Nelson was on stage saying wonderful things about his father, John quietly slipped into his car. He emptied his asthma pump and spat in his drink. After the speech was over, Nelson sat in his car and headed to the office, where some important people were waiting for him. The moment he drank his drink, he noticed a different taste. The taste seemed a little strange, and he fell to wondering whether something had been mixed into it. Meanwhile, John was also driving alongside, following him. Just then, suddenly, Nelson felt the need for his asthma pump. He took out his inhaler, which was completely empty, because John had already emptied it. Seeing the pump empty, Nelson got very scared. His breathing started becoming labored. He had an asthma attack. Now gasping very badly, he quickly went into a pharmacy. His throat was completely choking up. He could not even speak. He quickly started searching for a pump at the counter. He was running around everywhere, gasping, trying to find his pump. Meanwhile, the old shop owner thought he was stealing. Finally, when he found a pump, he tried to show that he had not come to cause harm. Just as he was raising his hands, John fired a shot in the air from outside. The moment the old man heard the sound, he thought Nelson had a gun. He quickly pressed the alarm to call the police, and the old woman pulled out a long gun. Meanwhile, outside, John was happy because his mission was complete. The judge's dear son would now be going inside on a case of armed robbery. Now, Nelson was in custody, screaming at his lawyer, Dwayne. But the CCTV clearly showed him causing a commotion inside the shop. His lawyer said that, "Look, all the evidence is against you, so the best thing would be to plead guilty." Along with this, he would have to resign from the position of chairman of the Biederman Foundation. His lawyer, Dwayne, at this moment had the phone on speaker talking in front of all the board members. Everyone was of the opinion that it would be best to remove Nelson from the position. Anyway, when Dwayne was brought before the judge, he tried to have a conversation with her. He said that, "Look, I can be of great use to you. You must know my father. We have a lot of money, as much as you want." But Judge Eva did not like any of this at all. She said, "Sit down and wait like everyone else. When your turn comes, we will talk." Very soon the trial began, and there were some very peculiar people sitting on the jury. The moment they saw the CCTV footage, they made up their minds that yes, this man was a robber. Nelson's lawyer, Dwayne, was also a completely useless man. Putting up a very poor defense, he told the jury a story that, "Look, when we watch Jurassic Park, we feel the dinosaurs are real. But they are not real, are they? In the same way, this CT footage looks real. But who knows whether it is or not? Anything can happen on camera." This is a good man. Let him go." But despite all of this, everyone on the jury still found Nelson guilty, after which Judge Eva sentenced him to 5 years, and at this moment John saw Nelson walking the same path for the first time that his father had made John walk again and again. Later, he sat with his friends, blowing smoke, but his mind was still not at peace. Just then, 2 men knocked on their door. They had come to buy drugs from them. He had already understood that these were police officers, but he still called them inside and sold them drugs. The moment they left, John told his friends that if you do not want to go to jail, get out of here, because he knew what was about to happen. He was going back to jail, and this time, he was doing all of this knowingly. At the first hearing, he did not get into any drama. When he was sent before the judge, he quietly admitted his guilt and requested Rossmore prison to serve his sentence because that was exactly where Nelson was going. The judge agreed and sent him to the same prison. Now, Nelson and John were sent to prison in the same bus. The atmosphere on the way was quite strange, but John came across warmly and asked Nelson his name and said he hoped the 2 of them would stay together in jail. He promised that if you stay with me, you will survive. On arriving at the prison, the new prisoners lined up to meet the warden for the first time. But hearing the warden's words, all their faces fell. The warden said that if you do not want to fight, then do not talk to anyone at all. And if a fight does happen, do not complain about it to anyone. If you think something wrong is happening in jail, keep your thoughts to yourself, because I do not care in the slightest. After this, John managed to arrange for Nelson's room to be right next to his. Now he had found the real purpose of his life, making the life of that old judge's son even more difficult. When the 2 of them entered their cell, the rich boy took one look at the toilet and started crying. But John warned him to stop crying. If anyone sees you, they will eat you alive in here. Even if you are scared, do not show it. Understood? When Nelson was putting on an act of showing courage, the other prisoners passing by also started laughing. And this is how the jail story of the 4th generation of the Biederman family began. Anyway, during lunch, the 2 of them went to the canteen together. John had spent quite a lot of time in this prison, so he knew quite a bit about everyone. He pointed and told Nelson that he was Leonard, who was the leader of the White Kingdom gang. These were very good people. Did not say anything to anyone. John was deliberately trying to set Nelson up. Anyway, the 2 of them were eating and talking when Leonard jumped on another prisoner and slammed him straight onto their table and stabbed him to death. John quietly stepped aside, but Nelson stood frozen right there. Guards came rushing in, and they asked Nelson who had killed this man. On John's signal, Nelson told them that Leonard killed him. And that was all it took. Poor Nelson had now become one of Leonard's enemies. Coming back to the cell, John scolded him, asking, "Why did you open your mouth for nothing?" At this, Nelson said, "But you were the one who signaled." "Oh no, I was gesturing something else entirely. You took it the wrong way." A little while later in the bathroom, when everyone was showering, Barry came up to Nelson. He was a big, heavily built man with dark hair. His eyes were on Nelson. But John stepped forward and threatened everyone. "This one is mine." Understood. But then Barry said, "How can we believe that?" To prove his point, he gave Biederman a tremendous slap on the backside. "My property. Stay away from this one." Understood. Later, Dwayne came to jail to visit Nelson. Nelson said, "Get me out of here as quickly as possible. I am becoming other people's property in here." But now, Dwayne started saying that the Biederman Foundation is not even in your control anymore. Where is the money to fight the case, sweetheart? His own lawyer was also taunting him. Meanwhile, John made sure every single day that Nelson's jail life was a headache. Every day, the man in the cell next to his would punch him. For every punch, he would get a pack of cigarettes from John, and all kinds of garbage would be mixed in his food. One day, Nelson was sitting in the bathroom trimming his nails like some sort of royalty. Just then, Barry came there, and seeing Nelson started saying that this is the crime I commit over and over. I am a man. I love a man. Seeing the intensity of his love, John also relented, but in exchange, he demanded a great many cigarettes and a little extra too. By prison standards, he had put quite a high price on Nelson, but Barry agreed to it. After this, John arranged with a guard to take him out of the room on any pretext, and the moment the cell door opened, Nelson panicked. But Barry said, "Relax, bro. Why are you so nervous? Nothing will happen." But then within a few seconds, Barry's men picked Nelson up. They put a paper bag over his head and took him to Barry's room. Barry welcomed him by pouring him a drink. The moment Barry saw him, he said, "Well, your belly has really come out, hasn't it?" He was treating Nelson like a new bride, saying, "Do not fuss so much, darling, come closer to me." Poor Nelson was trembling out of fear, but he had no choice either. Barry said that, "I truly love you, and for today I am letting you go just like this, my dear. But remember one thing, Whatever I want, whenever I want, I will do it, and do not refuse me. After this time passed like this, and Nelson developed the habit of writing in a diary. Today he was sitting on the floor, leaning against the iron bars, writing something in his diary. Just then, one of Leonard's men came and urinated right on his diary. He had come just to give a warning that Leonard was about to come out of solitary confinement soon. And then what happens to you will make your soul shudder. Then John explained to him that Leonard will not kill you all at once. He will beat you again and again, give you pain, slowly. And it is possible that many months later one day, he might just kill you if he is in the mood. In the cafeteria area, the situation got even worse. John told him that I have heard that the time to kill you has been fixed. At this, Nelson decided that he would go and try talking to Leonard once. John knew this was a very big mistake. Still, he said yes, of course everything can be fixed through talking. Now Nelson went to Leonard's gang's table and from the heart started giving a speech that, brother, if a person makes a mistake, then the one who forgives is the bigger one, and you are the bigger one here. But the moment he heard this, Leonard drove a spike into one of his legs. Then, as Nelson screamed, he drove one into the other leg too, and said, yes, now this is right. Even it is. Now poor Nelson was doubled over crying. After this, Leonard said that you have courage in you, boy. Aside from you, only one other man ever stood before me like this, and that was my own father, but you know I am here because I killed him. Even though Nelson was foolish, he understood that his time had now come close. Poor man limped back to his table and told his friend John that my death has been postponed for a few days. At night in their cell, John told him that you only have 2 or 3 options. The first you will not like. The second is fight him alone. The third is that he will slowly kill you himself, so just wait. When none of the options seemed good to him, John told him the 4th option, that create some trouble and get yourself into solitary confinement. He cannot kill you there. Hearing this, Nelson said, that sounds fine, but how do you get that? But before he could ask anything more, John threw his ball toward the guard and then hid behind Nelson. The moment the guard came, John punched the guard in the face from behind. It looked as though Nelson had thrown the punch, and the guards picked him up and put him in the furthest away solitary confinement. 2 days in that dark box with no light and no sense of time, and he was slowly going half mad with just his own thoughts. When the guards brought Nelson back to his cell, he was completely shaken up. Then he went to an old dealer present in the jail. He said, brother, I am tired of this life. I want to get rid of all my troubles. And that dealer was in some kind of confused state. He thought Nelson wanted to be rid of life itself. Instead of giving Nelson something intoxicating, he gave him something poisonous. Nelson also did not ask many questions and casually took the medicine. There in their cell, John saw that Leonard's entire crew was heading their way. Without saying anything, he quietly slipped out. Within a few seconds, the gang came inside. The leader told everyone else to wait outside. I will handle this one alone. He attacked, but Nelson did not give up either. He blocked some punches, threw a half-decent one himself too. Then he climbed up to the top bunk, and from there landed a few good kicks. Now blood was coming from Leonard's nose. Just then, suddenly, a syringe fell from above. It was filled with the very same poison Nelson had brought. Leonard stopped seeing it and started asking, what is this? At this, Nelson said that this stuff ends all tension. It will be great fun. That is what I was told anyway. Hearing this, Leonard injected himself with the syringe, and luckily Nelson's problem had now solved itself. The noise that was going on outside the cell went completely quiet all at once. Nelson dragged Leonard's body outside and told his companions that if anyone else wants to die, they can come inside. Hearing this, the rest of the gang immediately backed away. Just then, John entered the cell. He started pretending that he had been on Nelson's side all along. Then he said very casually that killing someone inside prison adds 20 more years. But Nelson just smiled slightly and said that I did not kill anyone. Just then, John quietly let slip that was not what I had planned. At this, Nelson immediately grabbed him, asking, what did you want then for me to die? But John very cleverly changed the subject. Now when Nelson made his entrance into the canteen alongside John, the entire hall went silent. Just then, a boy from the White Kingdom gang came from behind. John immediately turned around. He had a spike ready in his hand. He thought a fight was about to happen. But the boy had not come to fight, but to extend a hand of friendship. He said that Leonard was troubling us anyway, so you have set us free. Now everyone started looking at Nelson with respect, because he had killed the most dangerous prisoner in the jail. Now John thought to himself that he would have to get into a fight with someone. Otherwise, people would think he was too powerful. He told another prisoner to get up because the boss needed to sit. That prisoner did not get up the first time, but then Nelson swore at him and said get up just to show some power, after which the prisoner quietly left from there. But from this, John understood that his entire game had backfired. A little while later, Nelson went to the bathroom and ran into Barry again, who started saying, "Do you remember what we talked about?" When Barry came toward him in his romantic style, Nelson gave him a hard shove and landed 2 punches on him as well. Those 2 right in the face. At this, Barry got angry and grabbed him by the throat. "But Nelson said that you said you loved me. A little bickering is part of love, is it not, baby?" Hearing this, Barry stopped. Poor fellow got emotional. Nelson also spread his arms out. "Come here, give me a hug." Barry immediately started coming toward him. But just then, the White Kingdom gang came inside. They had by now received word that their new companion was being mistreated by Barry. They all together pounced on Barry. Nelson came in the middle and shouted to stop it, but by then the guards had come. And this time they felt that John had done everything since he was sitting in a corner like a boss watching all of it. And this time, John was picked up and put in that sealed box. When he came out, the atmosphere of the prison had completely changed. His roommate Nelson was now everyone's favorite. He had started teaching karate to the other prisoners. People used to laugh at his jokes. Wherever he went, there was always someone around him. On top of that, he had become the leader of the prison's theater group. Now, Nelson went to John and thanked him. He said, "Brother, if it were not for you, I would not have been able to endure all of this. You have taught me how to live." Seeing all of this, John's mind completely snapped. Frustrated, he smashed everything in the cell. He had deliberately given up his freedom so that he could make the judge's son miserable in jail, and not to watch him enjoying jail life. During all of this, Barry and Nelson had by now truly grown very close indeed. One day, Nelson was alone in the cell and John came there. He started giving a long, grand speech saying, "I am very proud of you, brother. Look where you have come from and where you have reached. Tomorrow is your hearing. I hope you will be let go." He had a can in his hand, which he gave to Nelson, saying, "This is a gift for our parting." But the can was already open. This gave Nelson a slight suspicion. But John immediately said that, "You are doubting me. How dare you doubt me?" To clear the suspicion, he took the first sip himself and then started playing the victim, saying, "Brother, I am very hurt." Hearing this, Nelson softened and drank the entire can in one go, which was his very big mistake. Something had been mixed into that drink. Within a few minutes, Nelson was unconscious. Until then, John stayed calm and made himself vomit to get the medicine out. Then he quickly moved his plan forward. The next morning, Nelson was taken to court for his hearing. He told the judges that jail has changed me. I have become a new person. But on his forehead was written white power, and on his neck were Nazi symbols. Seeing all of this, the judges rejected his early release, and also noted that he should only be released from jail after completing his full sentence. Very soon, Nelson also saw what had been written and drawn on his throat and forehead, and he understood who had done all of this. The moment he came back to the cell, he pounced on John. A tremendous fist fight broke out between the two. Punches rained from both sides, but in the end, John took advantage of being the experienced one and started winning. When John was pressing him against the iron bars, he told him the truth that "Your father sentenced me again and again. He never gave me a chance to reform. It is because of him that I had you sent here. I am the one who brought you here." Hearing this, Nelson got very angry and slammed John's head into the iron of the bunk bed. Just then, the guards came there and, stopping their fight, said that if you two want to fight, then fight properly. A fight was arranged for them out in the yard, which would have no rules. The fight would not end until one of them was dead, and from then on, they were kept under watch 24 hours a day so they would not kill each other before the fight. All the guards and prisoners started placing bets on who would win. Money was at stake. The warden had also put money on it. Then one day during visiting hours, someone came to see Nelson. It was Barry. He had now been released from jail, but could not get through life without his love, Nelson. He started saying that he was thinking about committing some crime and coming back. But Nelson said, "Do not do anything like that. In this world, you are my only family." At this, Barry said that, "I am ready to do anything for you. Just say the word." Just then, an idea suddenly came to Nelson's mind. In another part of the city, Dwayne was playing golf in his office. The moment his phone rang, Nelson said, "Get me out of here quickly." Dwayne reminded him that, "You are not the chairman anymore. You have no money. How will you pay my fee?" At this, Nelson said that, "I cannot be the head, but my son can take my place. I have adopted someone. He will be coming to your office." Just then, Barry walked into the office, his 150-kilo son. He told Dwayne to get out of here because the chairman's chair was now his. Very soon, the fight between the two prisoners broke out. This is where the story had begun. John climbed on top of Nelson and then rubbed a piece of his shirt which he had soaked in industrial cleaner on Nelson's face. This was enough to throw Nelson off balance, and John kicked him hard. Then both of them suddenly pulled out syringes to inject each other with poison. Suddenly Nelson's mood changed. He said, "Let us end all of this. Let us call it a draw, brother." Both of them agreed, and then suddenly he said that I have learned one thing in here. Do not trust anyone, and the very next second, he injected John. But John had also injected Nelson before dying. Both fell down together as though they were dead. Very soon the medical team came there and declared both of them dead. Very soon both were buried, and now the full power of the Biederman Foundation was given to Nelson's only son, Barry. But after everyone had left, Barry dug up the grave, and out came a very much alive Nelson. All of this had been part of the plan. In reality, Nelson had already gotten medicine from the dealer which could keep any man unconscious for 3 days. That is what they had injected each other with. Barry had already bought the medical staff by paying them a great deal of money. Standing near the other grave, Nelson thought about leaving John there to die. But then Barry got emotional, and they pulled John out too. There was a little argument, and then the two shook hands and buried the old enmity right there. A year later, we saw all of them living their good lives. And that's the end of the movie. Hope you enjoyed the recap. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a hype comment, and tell me which movie I should recap next. Don't forget to subscribe to Midnight Recaps and press the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.